ready to talk hockey. Streaming from the Oilers Live studio. Subscribe or follow today.
Hey, it's Michael here, Oilers Live with the Monday edition, pre-game 6 edition of Oilers Live. Welcome everybody to the show. We've got Ryan Lotsberg, a.k.a. Lotsy, senior writer, stats junkie for heavyhockey.com. We've got Bob the goalie, former high-level-ish goalie, or maybe just a goalie from high level. Could be. No, more like Grand Prairie, I think. I don't know. Playoff pressure expert, if you will. We're going to break it all down in 90 commercial-free minutes as we talk about the Oilers down 3-2 to the Florida Panthers in a do-or-die situation in Sunrise, Florida, where the Panthers won it all last year. How's everybody feeling right now? Quick check on everybody. How are you all feeling?
Optimistic. Some stranger has summed it up nicely. We're not dead yet.
Not dead yet. I love it. That should be the bumper sticker, right? For the Oilers, right? Edmonton Oilers, not dead yet. Oh, man. I don't know. This is it. I honestly believe the Oilers are going to do it. I'm not just saying that because I'm an Oilers fan, but it's Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. I'm feeling really good about this.
Well,
yeah.
I'm saying the same thing. The Oilers are going to do it, but I am saying it because I'm an Oilers fan.
Yeah, no. There's definitely some of that. There's definitely some of that in there.
I mean, I hate to say this, but you hear it and you see it all across the board. I mean, you have to give Florida some credit. I mean, especially that last game, that may have been. Well, from what I saw in the Edmonton Journal, this was the least event game for the Oilers all season when it came to grade A chances against. So Florida played a perfect road game. I mean, I can only think of that partial half-ass breakaway that Connor Brown had early on, which wasn't really much in the end. And then Connor McDavid had one rush where he tried to go around the outside. That was it that I saw for chances off the rush. We couldn't use the middle at all. Florida just congested that whole area, gave us no time and space, and really was an absolutely boring game, which is the perfect game to play on the road.
Yeah. Just introducing himself into the mix, we've got Patrick, a.k.a. the Oilers fanatic. He's in witness protection, so don't mind the dark room there. Hiding out, got a little trouble with the mob, I guess. I don't know.
Everybody else here is sleeping, so I got to keep it dark.
You got to keep it down. What are you talking? Like, it's later where I am than where you are. I don't. Welcome to my life. Everybody else is sleeping. Welcome, Patrick. We're just talking do or die. How are you feeling, by the way, about everything?
I'm confident they can get it done.
All right. As an Oilers fan or as a hockey expert?
Because they play their best when backs against the wall.
Yeah. Hey, Lotzi, I think we got another echo situation coming from your side there. Might have to put in the headphones. That's why, ultra professional live stream here, Oilers Live. 4 guys that have taken years of broadcasting to bring this to you, just like super polished. That's what you're here for. That's what everybody's here for. Like and subscribe. Rarely a challenge. I mean, we got one guy with absolutely brilliant lighting. Absolutely brilliant lighting. We got Bob, who's got like the very professional Oilers background.
Yeah, very professional.
Yeah. Lotsy didn't even get the hat. I don't know what.
I hired a decorator for this. I hired a set decorator for this, just so you know.
Yeah, well, it's better than your truck. Although some people would disagree.
Yeah.
People would disagree. All right, let's start with Game 5 recap, folks. Maybe some key takeaways, what went wrong, breakdowns, special teams, discipline. It's turning the bathroom light on. Oh no, there we go. I don't know. As I said,
Get in your truck, Patrick. Just get in your truck.
Just get in your truck. That's right. Oh man. Geez, it only took us like less than 10 minutes to break down.
Yeah, we're off the rails already. I love it.
Off the rails already. All right, I'm going to start with you, Lotsie, while Patrick gets the lighting situation fixed up. And by the way, Patrick, if you're listening, I don't care if you're sitting in the dark. We're all in the dark here. We're all in the dark. Let us know. Oh, that's something I said, I guess. Damn it. It took it too far. Game 5 recap, Lotsie. Give us the goods. What went wrong? Breakdowns, maybe some key moments, missed opportunities, turning points.
Yeah, I think the Panthers were what went wrong. As Bob was kind of just alluding to, I think they played a fantastic game. I was up in the 200s for that game, so I had a pretty good view of what was happening out there. And it just felt like the Panthers were able to anticipate every single play that's out there. It's nothing wrong with what the Oilers are doing so much. It's just the Panthers are executing at a really high level. They've got a great system and they play it to a T. And that system involves pressure in the defensive zone. Well, the Oilers' defensive zone, and that makes it difficult to move through the neutral zone because they've got a broken up pass or they're flipping it out just to avoid a giveaway of some kind, right? So they're not really able to access the middle of the ice just because they got no opportunity to make a play. So the Oilers defense has to find a way to move the puck a little bit faster, and they got to find a way to utilize the middle of the ice. And it starts with centers supporting low, and it starts with faster puck movement to the weak side of the ice because the Panthers love to stack the strong side. Yeah, I've had it in my series preview. I've been saying it all along. I think the Panthers have made a subtle adjustment with their weak side forward, having him more in the middle of the ice and a little higher rather than so low. So like not ultra aggressive, but and whoever that third forward is, doesn't matter, right? They're all reading and executing at a high level. So I think that's what's making it hard on the Oilers. But I think we can point to 2 individual plays by Brad Marchand. I mean, good plays by him, but it's not like he's Connor McDavid or something, right? We got to find a way to get a body on that guy. It's 2 face-off plays, one from center ice, beats Podkolzin to the puck and walks by Ekholm and Nurse goal. And then there's the other one, offensive zone face-off. Panthers win it. Marchand sneaks through, breakaway goal. Or I think there's something along those lines. But 2 individual efforts by Marchand end up ultimately kind of being the difference. There was an empty netter there, right? Other than that, it's a 4-2 game.
Yeah. Just a little update on the Oilers fanatic. Apparently he's not strong enough to be here. Internet isn't strong enough to be on the show today. He'll participate through the chat. No, those are all good points. Bob, you got anything to add to that?
I just I think as a decor, this may have been our weakest game as a decor. I thought other than like Bouchard was okay. I thought Kulak was probably our best defenseman, but I mean everybody else to a man, the other 4 guys, I thought, just not good enough at all. I mean, to see Wallman get walked the way he did, Ekholm, I'm going to go on record and say that was probably Ekholm's worst game as an Oiler, not just these playoffs. Like that's the worst I've ever seen him. He got fooled on that little that Lotsie alluded to on the Marchand breakaway. Like Marchand skated by him, like Ekholm was just standing there, and he did the old. When I was playing high school football, and I was the worst defender. In a small school, you had to play offense and defense. So I was a receiver on the offense, defense, and then cornerback on defense. And the best play that a opposing receiver could do to me would say, "Hey, look over there," and I'd look, and he'd just run the other way. And that's what it looked like Ekholm was doing on the Marchand play. He looked one way, Marchand went the other way, standing still. I've never seen Ekholm look more beer leaguish in my life than on that play. And just overall, I just thought he just didn't look like he was feeling it. It's not the Ekholm that we know.
Yeah, no, I mean, all good points, all really good points. I think, by the way, every time you're from Edmonton when you hear the term high school football and you think another Yellow Pages football through the end zone for
High school.
high school football.
Yellow
All
Pages
right.
sponsorship. That's a
There we
blast
go.
from the past.
Oh, yes. Yes. Anybody remember what that is?
I have a vague recollection.
Pre-internet. Yeah. No. Yeah. Some stranger says Patrick's making his contribution in the press box. He's done.
He's our black ace today.
He's the black ace today. You got it. Yeah. All good points, guys. I mean, one thing like playing from behind, right? I mean, this is, the Oilers have got to score first. I mean, we've said that throughout the playoffs, and when they did score first, they're winning games, right? And I think that, the nature and everything about how they got scored on was the temperature of the game, right? Like Marchand scoring the way that he did, he's already in their heads, right? A player gets in their heads, and then all of a sudden he scores a goal like that, and he just sits there, and you like. And Marchand's not the kind of guy that doesn't let you know 80 million times when you're in the face-off dot with him. What did we hear today? This is one of the nastiest chirping series of all time. Of course,
James Duthie. Yeah,
right. Yeah, James Duthie reported that. Of course it is. You've got Marchand, you've got Perry, you've got Bennett, you've got Tkachuk, Kane. I mean, it's got to be nasty out there, and then when one of those guys is scoring all the goals, actually two of those guys, and in fact Tkachuk too had a 2-goal game, right?
that's all he's done. But yeah, he had one good game.
Yeah. But like those are, you can start to back that up, and you start to feel that, right? Like the Oilers are starting to feel that. The one thing I will say though is looking at the presser, they look calm.
Yeah,
they didn't look like they were, and I think they're just trying to like get through it calmly, right? And get to that next level. But that first goal, to me, that's the first goal. The nature in which it's scored, that's everything about the game, and then maybe some urgency, right? Like this. This team almost, when we talk about it like at length, it's boring to even talk about now. Like they need their backs up against the wall before they put their foot on the gas. They look good in the last 5 minutes of the game. Granted they had the empty net for that time, but Connor was flying and they were doing the right things. They've got to do that from the start.
How much would you say? How much would you say do we look at the coaching in regards to that? I mean, are we just not ready for that first period, or like we will start strong, but if we don't capitalize like with the first couple of minutes, then it seems like Florida puts one in, and then we're instantly battling from behind.
I feel like this is a problem that has spanned multiple coaching staffs at this point. Like I feel like it was a Woodcroft problem, it was a Tippett problem, it was a McLennan problem, right? Yeah, I think it's just mental. Like you can only tell the guys you got to start on time so many times, right? Like they know, they understand that they've outscored 7-0 in the first period in the last 3 games. They understand that the team that wins the first goal has a higher likelihood of winning the hockey game. They know all that. They don't need people to tell them. They have to do it. At some point, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like we've talked about this in the regular season lots of times in the past, and when it just happens over and over and over again, it just becomes habit, right? So it's just it's hard to control it, right? Sometimes Florida's going to make a good play before you do, but you got to do what you can to start strong.
Yeah, I think, but that's a good question, Bob. I mean, coaching, is it part of it? Maybe. I mean, Connor said himself, right? Like this is I hate the term Oilering, but this is Oilering at its finest, right? Like the Oilers just all the memes about this team makes me drink, right? It's they're like they keep getting used because that's the way it is, right? It started from the beginning of the playoffs, right? Losing those first 2 games or losing games with 5 seconds left or whatever, right? Yeah. I mean,
I would go as far as to say that I actually think, I am a big Knobloch fan. I love his calm demeanor. I think that's one of the reasons why our team doesn't panic, because our coach doesn't panic.
Yeah.
And I'm also one of the few guys out there, if you go online during a game, who hardly disagrees on the decisions Knobloch makes for who's in the lineup and what the line combinations are and who starts in net and that sort of thing. I pretty much see his point in almost all of them. You're always going to have like, yeah, well, maybe. But this last game, I go as far to say as I chalk out that loss to coaching this last game. I don't think Knobloch and his crew were able to find the adjustments that they should make in that game to counter against what Florida was doing. I mean, Florida owned the game to the last, like you mentioned, last 5 minutes of the third, pretty much.
Has a coach ever been fired mid-series?
I don't want fired.
I mean, but the Oilers, that wouldn't put it past them to do it. Yeah.
I think the most coaching that you do in a season is in either in losing streaks or B in the playoffs when you meet the same team a minimum of 4 times. So it's 2 coaches battling head to head, having to adjust what the other guy is doing. And in game 5, we were not able to make any adjustments that were working.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is something that's bugged me is, the Florida Panthers have not changed like a ton. They've not adjusted a ton. They've just played their game. And the Oilers haven't seemed to, they've done so well adjusting to everybody else throughout the playoffs so far. But this is, and it speaks to just how good Florida is, though, right? Like they're that solid, but it just feels like the Oilers haven't been able to adjust. So, I mean, who knows? Roxy Mama says, I'm not the only one who thinks the coach has lost it. No, Bob would fire the coach tomorrow.
No, I don't think he's lost it. I think he lost. I think he played a huge role in us losing that game. I mean, we had 11 shots in 2 periods. We had, like the Edmonton Journal alluded to, we had the least grade A chances we've had all season. So, like that's a bad time to pull that card out in game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final or game 5 Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
How much do you guys think that having Stetcher only play 4 minutes in game 4 had an impact on the performance of the defenseman in game 5? And I have my thought on this, but I'll let you guys go first.
So repeat, what are you saying? Like that the fact that Stetcher only played 4 minutes in game 4 impacted how well the defense played in game 5?
The argument that I've seen online is that they were the defensemen were tired because they were rotating 5 guys pretty much throughout all of game 4. Like Stetcher made his mistake at the end of the first period. He had only played 4 minutes, and they rotated 5 guys for the rest of the night, including overtime. So therefore, they were tired on one-day turnaround with a trip into game 5.
I see the point. I see the point. I see the argument, and an argument could be made because our defense did play like shit this last game. But in all honesty, I thought that the person who looked the most tired for the Oilers was actually maybe Draisaitl all game. He looked like his legs were pretty heavy the whole game. If anything, the whole 4 minutes last game for Stetcher affected him more than anybody because it probably dabbled in his confidence a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be more inclined to think the way Bob's thinking there, like the confidence piece than the actual. I've got a problem thinking like 2 days off with these guys, the caliber of players that they are. That it's a long series for everybody. If it affects one guy, it affects them all, right? Like if they play an extra 10 minutes one night versus the next, they've already played 3 overtimes in the finals, right? Like they're all tired, right? Like they're all, they'll
100%.
all sleep for a couple weeks once they're done. And I just don't think, if anything, maybe they got a little bit of a break because Stetcher played more minutes the next game, right?
Yeah, I mean, my thought on it was Stetcher usually plays 13, 14 minutes a night. So we're looking at 9, 10 minutes. I mean, split between 5 guys, right? So each guy might have played an extra 2 minutes ish. So that's an extra 2 or 3 shifts, like a shift to period kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that much extra effort really made up. Or I don't think it's a plausible explanation for what we saw in Game 5. Like, I don't think it's a plausible explanation for that level of a dip that we saw from the defense. It's like I'm not giving them that excuse.
No.
I just saw that out there online a lot, and I was like, I'm not feeling that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's. I mean, we'll get into defensive adjustments, maybe the pressure and that. Let's talk something a little bit more along the lines of what Bob's talking about. Bob likes. Lots is made, obviously, about Skinner getting us there. Skinner out in Florida once already. They asked Knobloch whether it's going to affect his decision on who's going to get the start. He said, he's thought about it, but it's, I think it's still kind of up in the air. He might not have even made a decision yet. I haven't heard anywhere. Has he announced yet? I don't think so, right?
No, he hasn't.
He was
in the presser after practice.
Yeah. So I guess, like, and really, I mean, how much to blame is the goaltending? Bob thinks the goaltending is never to blame.
Well, only when I'm at.
I mean, like, we've watched really some. You can't, sure there's been times where you said you wish Skinner had made a save, right? But I just don't. There's just nothing in this team, like in the mistakes they're making, that where I think that the goaltenders bear some burden to the defensive responsibility that or lack of responsibility that they should have. I'm kind of, whoever you're feeling, right? Like I honestly don't care who starts Game 6. I think this game's not won or lost by who's in net this next game. I think either or is so. To that end, I don't think there's a controversy. Start Skinner, start Pickard. I don't care. Like, Oilers have to score first and often. One goal, more or less for the 2 major losses that they've had is not going to get you right. Like, get you anywhere. Thoughts? I mean, Bob, you're the goalie guy. What's your thoughts on this?
I mean, this last game too for Pickard, I didn't think there's any that he per se should have had, but there's 1 or 2 that we wish he would have had, or he wishes he would have had for sure. And yeah, you hear that saying all the time. Boy, we just needed that one save. Yeah, we do. You need that one save in every loss we have. That one save could make a difference. I would say that there's been times throughout the season that the Oilers goalies have been able to make that one save more often than the opposing team goalie has done. And I think to be a true elite starter in the NHL, you have to be capable of making those saves. Yeah, we get it from time to time, but in a game like yesterday, where I didn't think Pickard was good yesterday, but I sure didn't think he was to blame for the game at all. If he makes 1 or 2 of those saves on a grade A chance, that can also change the momentum of that game. We didn't get that save from him. Was he to blame for that? No, but that's something that you want to see your so-called starter of that game to make, especially in a pressure situation like the playoffs.
And that game that they pulled Skinner, right? Like, to me, that's half mercy pull. He was amazing for the first 10 minutes.
He was the best player of the first period. We benched our best player of the first period. And I understood why we did it. I honestly think, and again, he let in 3 goals. And the first two were power play goals. One was a 2-man advantage. I mean, how do you fault the goalie for that one? It's not like the shot came from center. And then the third goal was a nice shot right from the hash marks kind of thing, inside the hash marks. Again, no chance. But that was a 5-on-5 goal. I would put money on the fact that if Skinner had made that save, he probably plays the rest of that game.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Ryan, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I definitely can't argue with any of the points that you guys are making here. Like, Skinner was fantastic in the first period of Game 3, like you said, 5-on-3 goal against. Can't really fault him for that. And that was a great shot by Tkachuk too, through a screen, just over the blocker, like perfectly placed. And yeah, I think it was Lundell who scored that one from the slot on the Stetcher turnover. Like, it was a great shot. Good forecheck by Verhaeghe. Unfortunate play for Stetcher. But yeah, I'm not blaming Skinner for any of them. That happened in Game 4. Pickard, I mean, it's the Brad Marchand goals. Those ones, they're not breakaways. They're great individual efforts. Maybe they're 50-50 plays. Again, it'd be nice if Pickard got one of them, but I don't care who you had in net. The Oilers were losing that game because they got thoroughly outplayed by the Panthers. Right? I don't think goaltending was to blame, and I don't think that Pickard was at fault. But I definitely think Skinner is the right answer for Game 6. He's the guy that's been there, done that for you last year. He brought the team back from the dead last year, down 0-3, got it to Game 7, and played fairly well in Game 7 as well. Just one mistake more than what Bobrovsky made. Yeah, I think Skinner was real good in Game 4, and I think he'll be real good again in Game 6 as well. The run with Pickard has been special, but I think the magic may have just ran out in Game 5, unfortunately.
And that's not saying he couldn't find that magic. And I kind of agree with Michael. I mean, it probably doesn't make a difference who we have in net if we keep playing, in front of our goalies the way we have, and especially this last game, more or less. But I would tend to agree now that. Like Stu Skinner now, I think Stu Skinner at his best is better than Calvin Pickard at his best. And so right now you want your best capable lineup you can, especially because you lose one more game, you're done. So you need everybody at their best or as best they can be. And I think we ride higher, have a better chance of that if Stu is able to reach the apex of his game more than when Picks can reach the apex of his.
And I think we just saw Pickard at the apex of his game throughout most of these playoffs.
Agreed.
It's just, I think that run has run out, unfortunately. I think we're past the apex point, and I think he's coming back down to earth a little bit, as we saw in Game 5. Not trying to pin the loss on Pickard at all, but it wasn't the same magic we saw in the earlier series. Just wasn't.
I agree. I thought Pick's best game of the playoffs was probably the game before this, where we won 5-4. I mean, his analytics game wasn't great, but he was like that. That was a time where we mentioned before he came up with the right save at the right time, and that's one of those games where our goalie was able to do that and play like he was a great starter in the NHL and made those saves at timely moments. We never once had to say, "Hey, we just need one more save." We were getting it. And that was when he was at his best that game, I felt.
He was unbelievable in Game 4. I think that save he made on Bennett in overtime, that's one people will be talking about for a long time.
It's on par with Cujo's save in Game 7 in Dallas almost. that one where looked like the game was over.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't quite as spectacular, but it was infinitely more meaningful for sure. That was a first round Game 7. This is Game 4 of a Cup Finals that it was essentially do or die, right? We needed that game. Going down 3-1 wouldn't have ended well.
I would also say that Skinner has had more, maybe it's just by the fact that he's played more games, but he's had more elite level games these playoffs than Pickard has. I mean, that 3 shutouts, it was spectacular. He's come with some clutch moments at clutch times as well. The problem is when Skinner has a bad game, it tends to implode on him a little bit. But I guess the argument could be made for Picks as well at certain moments. I just feel, I think Skinner has more upside Skinner has that elite level mentality more often than Pickard does. I think Pickard might be a bit more, I don't want to use the word stable, but just a bit more, not as fluctuating on the roller coaster ride as Skinner can be. Skinner can have some real lows, but I think Skinner's highs are higher than what picks can give us.
Yeah, and ultimately, at the end of the day, this is a second-round draft pick that we've poured the better part of a decade into. And as I said earlier, he took us from 03 in the Cup Finals last year all the way to Game 7. So he's done this before, and he's the guy, right? He's the guy that your organization has thrust into the throne and said, "Okay, it's yours." So give the man the run, give the man the opportunity to cook.
I'm back to save the show, guys. By the way, just
my hero.
Put me in, coach. I'm here. I'm ready.
I saw our rating spike though once you got off. Pretty good.
Yeah, well, they went up by 1 because I had to watch from my phone. I almost doubled viewership there. Oh man, I don't know what's going on here, but man, tell you. Must be an East Coast thing. Somebody's trying to sabotage the show. They don't want me to be heard. I will be heard. So what, were we just talking about goaltending the whole time? Or
yeah, that's the reason why people were tuning in. And so we covered it already. So I guess the show's pretty much over now.
All right. We're done. Who's starting? Bob?
I say go with Skinner. And that's what Lotz and I were just talking about. I feel like Skinner, when he's at his peak, I think his peak game is greater than Pickard's peak game, and that gives us we gotta get most of our guys on board with their best game they can bring on to the table, and I think Skinner's high is higher than what Pickard can give us when he's at his high.
Yeah, I think you got to go back with Skinner anyway. He's. I know Pickard has been great. But he's your guy. I think that's where I came back into the thing was Ryan talking about just how much time and energy we've spent on Skinner. Absolutely.
Which is kind of
sorry. Go ahead.
Well, but it's kind of Lottie brings a great point when he says about the time we spend with Skinner. He's our draft pick. He's a guy we've developed. And one of the arguments you will see from the Oilers fans from time to time is the fact that we don't develop our own players anymore. Well, now we have this guy that we've developed. He is the number one goal in the AHL. And then you see a lot of the fan base trying to run him out of town. So pick a lane. Do we want to develop our players? Do we just want to throw them out to the next highest bidder?
I also, I don't want to belabor this point, but I think that, in situations like this, especially elimination games, play the guy that you're not going to second guess, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you put Pickard in, you maybe spend the rest of your summer thinking, why did we put Pickard in?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you put Skinner in, you got him in there. If you lose, he was the right choice. He's always been the right choice, right? Like you can't second guess that because he's your guy. He's supposed to be the starter. He's the guy that's supposed to get you there. I just don't think you can second guess that choice. You got to put him in. All right. Skinner it is. We decided. Somebody call Knobloch. Let him know.
All right. Give me 1 second. I'll put myself on mute. I'll make the call here.
Give him 1 second. Our Oilers, right? Our Oilers. All right. Let's talk defense. Adjustments that need to be made. Pressure in the Oilers zone. Can Ekholm rebound after last game? Does he need to rebound? Are the pairings working? Any changes that need to be made? And what about, like, it feels like there's an inordinate amount of breakaways. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but Lotzi, you're the stats guy. Give us the pairings idea. Like, how are the pairings working in your stats world today?
Yeah, I'd have to dive on the natural stat trick and look at the actual numbers. But Ekholm has struggled for most of this series, and I saw some guys in the chat, or I should say people in the chat, talking about Ekholm's probably not 100%. He may have came back too soon, and I think we're kidding ourselves if we think he's 100% and that he didn't come back before he was fully ready. He had a couple months off there, but ultimately the Oilers are on a playoff run, and they want Matthias Ekholm in the lineup, so they made sure he could get into the lineup. We can question the wisdom of that decision later in the summer, but there was a few of us questioning whether that was the best move or not, given how the D pairings were going at the time. And they've regressed. Part of it's playing Florida, but part of it is also Ekholm probably not playing at 100%. There's been a lot of people over the years say that Bouchard is what he is in large part because of being babysat by Ekholm. And I've always kind of stood up for Bouchard in that. And we're kind of seeing it go the other way right now, where Ekholm seems to be at his best playing with Bouchard and not the other way around. We've let Ekholm kind of roam around a little bit with Nurse and with Wallman. And it just hasn't been working the last couple of games. It just hasn't. So I think Ekholm Bouchard needs to be a thing going forward. I've advocated for Stetcher before he came in, and it hasn't worked, unfortunately. And so we have a question mark. Do you bring in Klingberg again, who was taken out of the series because he was bleeding goals against, and his feet just weren't quick enough for this series? Or do we go to Stetcher and just hope it continues, or hope it turns around? Tough question.
Well, let's stop there. Let's stop there. Let's tackle that one. Bob, you want me to take it first, or you want to? You want me to? I'll take that one first, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on this.
My favorite.
I sometimes I think, it's kind of like, Arvidsson came in from a break and he's got a good game behind him, right? Like, if you can get through this next game, worry about game 7, right? Like, you got to worry about this game. Put in guys, like if you need to put in Klingberg, put in Klingberg. And so I'm all right with that, because look, guys coming in, he knows he's got a shot. It's an elimination game. Everybody wants to play game 7, right? Everyone does. And so he wants to show his absolute best hockey of all time. He's had a bit of a break. Just throw him in. Give him the chance to prove himself. And Klingberg's he's a good high IQ defenseman, right? Maybe he doesn't have the puck or the foot speed that some of the other players have, and I just think that he's going to be motivated to do all the right things. And I like Stetcher. I think that he's been really great, but I just think in this case, that extra motivation of it having been taken out of the lineup might be everything that the Oilers need on D right now. They need something, anything, to spark something. That's my thought. I'd probably put Klingberg in. Bob?
I thought Klingberg had a good playoffs overall until the Florida series. I thought his style didn't match up well against Florida. I was amazed, in the first couple games there, how often I saw Klingberg get hit and get throttled, and he wasn't able to create some space, wasn't able to move the puck efficiently, and that's the strength of his game. He's a good skater, not a fast skater, but he's a good skater and he's a good puck mover. And Florida wasn't giving him that. Klingberg doesn't have a big physical side to his game, and so he was getting throttled around quite a bit and wasn't able to give anything back, especially battles for the net or along the boards. Klingberg looked old. So I liked when he put Stetcher in. He has a bit of a more muckier side to his game. He definitely is a bit more of a bull terrier down on the boards, and was very surprised when he only did play 4 minutes that first game. I want to see more. I felt like maybe he was getting punished for that one mistake, which didn't seem fair to me. But he never really got a chance to prove more what he can bring to the table. He wasn't being put in situations to succeed as much as I think we could have used Stetcher. Maybe there's something more to the story. Maybe he got hurt a bit on that stick that he got to the face. I don't know. So yeah, I agree with you as well, Michael, that I think a guy like Klingberg, who, this would be a shot to his pride a little bit, sitting in the stands. He's a veteran. He's done a lot with his career. He has another shot now of glory and a chance to prove himself again. I think he's probably the most motivated player in the lineup at this point. You put him back in here, and maybe he'll find that space, or he'll find that area where he can move the puck now that he's seen the game from up top a bit more, see some lanes that he didn't see when he's on the ice. So maybe we do see a better Klingberg here for Game 6. And yeah, I think I do put him.
Yeah. Now, Ryan, who's right? Who's wrong? Actually, Bob and I agree.
You both said the same thing.
Yeah. So
I'm still right. I'm still wrong.
We're obviously right.
And I'm not going to totally disagree with you, but I'm going to argue for 11-7 here. So, I mean, totally agree with what you guys are saying about Klingberg. He's definitely going to be motivated, and he is a high-level passer when he's on his game. And we need some way to break through that Panthers forecheck. We need someone who can make a pass, and Klingberg can do that. He just has to do it faster. I also like what Stetcher brings to the table. Like, he's got more of a physical side than we all give him credit for. His feet are a little quicker. He moves the puck pretty well himself, and he's a decent mesh with Nurse. So I think there's merit to having both of them in the lineup. And you can rotate guys around when you have 11-7, and you can ease their minutes a little bit as well. You can try the Nurse-Wallman pairing, which is something that I think deserves a little bit of a run here. I mean, Game 6 could be our only chance to try it out, so you might as well try it out. But the other reason I like 11-7 is just because you can get Leon and Connor away from Barkov and Forsling and Ekblad. Right?
This is Bob. This is why Ryan gets the biggest check, the Heavy Hockey Crew. This is why we pay him the big bucks at the Heavy Hockey Network. 11-7. I didn't even think about that. Like, that wasn't even in my good idea, Ryan. Will they do it?
I know. I don't think they will. I know Knobloch hates it, but I think it would actually be a really smart play for. He's done it before, but I think it would be a really smart play for Game 6 because you got to do something to get Connor and Leon going. They've done pretty well in terms of expected goals in the series, but Connor's got 7 points, only 1 goal. Like, they're not doing so well against the top players from Florida, even though the expected numbers say they should be. So we've got to see that dam burst at some point soon. So maybe it happens naturally in that matchup, but if you can get Connor and Leon away from the top players on the Panthers, I think that's an advantage for the Oilers.
Who would you take out of the forwards if you go 11-7?
For me, it's probably Trent Frederick. I thought he had a really good game.
Right?
So it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I mean, he'd take out Arvidsson, you'd think, or Skinner if he did it. But
if I had to choose one of those two, it's Arvidsson, right? If anything, I would live with putting Jeff Skinner in that fourth line duo, and so we can get some reps with McDavid and Draisaitl. Yeah. Right? Like, I think Skinner and McDavid have had pretty good chemistry together in the limited opportunities they've had this year. And there was a time at the end of the year where Skinner, McDavid, Brown was a really good line. And look who's up on Connor's right wing right now. It's Connor Brown.
Yeah.
Right? So if we can run that Skinner.
Get Knobloch on the phone, Bob. Like, we got some good stuff happening here.
I just messaged him already, so I'll add to it.
Tell him to tune in.
Oh, he's listening. He's listening.
He's listening. He's not watching the video, but he's
actually he texted me to say that he left after we were done talking about the goalies.
So. That's it. Well, there's lots of gems here. Lots of gems.
I would argue so if you're asking me, which you haven't, but I'm going to answer anyways. If you ask me who I would sit from the forwards, I'm going to go off the board a little bit here and say Janmark. It's a coin flip between Janmark and Frederick pretty much. And Janmark is, to me, he hasn't brought anything in these finals whatsoever. I know he's supposed to be like he's one of our penalty killers, but having said that, our penalty kill has been pretty shit too. So are we losing that much off our PK by taking the penalty killer off? I don't see him in frame for a lot of plays. I don't see him winning a lot of battles. Half the time, I don't even know if he's in a lineup until he mysteriously show him on the bench. So I don't know. He just hasn't found that gear here in these actually for the majority of the playoffs, but especially in the finals.
Yeah, hard to argue that. I mean, Frederick and Janmark are two guys that have got a pass in the finals here, and you got Skinner come in and he's making plays. Like he's he's getting the puck to the net. He's a guy that's noticeable in all the right ways, but he'd be one of the first out if there was a chance, right?
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. But
it is unfortunate.
It has been the way it's been. But yeah, I think that's what you need in the lineup right now is you need somebody who can make a play 5-on-5 and do something that's going to be a little creative and have their skill take over for half a second. And Jeff Skinner can do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love the idea of 11-7. I don't think it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, which is, it's you're right. Like, it's not Knobloch's favorite. He has done it before.
But at this point, why don't you?
If you get I think maybe you get through Game 6 and you consider it for Game 7. Why not?
Each game going forward now is a must-win. So if that means getting McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice more, then do it. Like, what are you saving your legs for? You have 2 games to power through. If you're not going to find your legs in these 2 games where it could be the end of your season, then you're never going to find your legs. I think any opportunity you can get McDavid and Draisaitl out there more gives you a better chance to win. Yeah, I'm all for that, and I can see why now. Like, I'm deferring my monthly heavy hockey salary to Lotsberg for that idea. So yeah.
I think it's better. It's better for Game 6 because it's a better road strategy because they don't have last change like they do at home, right? So Florida's going to get their line matchups because they're at home. So if we can use a tactic like 11-7 to throw the matchups into the mixer a little bit for them and keep Florida on their toes and get away from the matchups that they want a little bit. Why wouldn't we do that, right?
Yeah.
Game 7, we have last change, so we can do what we want.
The headlines tomorrow are going to be Lotzi called it 11-7, and that's going to be the part that really gets it. I mean, it's it's all academic. I just don't see it happening, but if it did, it'd be good. I do think, though, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Klingberg win.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see that either, to be honest.
Yeah, that's probably more realistic than seeing an 11-7. But you know what? I mean, at this point, everything goes, right? Like, what happens tomorrow, right, is all up in the air. It could be a gut feeling that Knobloch gets over lunch, right? Maybe he gets a bad hamburger in Florida and he says, we need to play 11-7. So my stomach hurts. I don't know. Like, everything's up in the air right now.
I think a good burger tells him to put 11-7. A bad burger tells him to put Josh Brown in the lineup.
Let's talk about Florida burgers for a little bit. Crocodile burgers. All right.
Lotsy alluded to
on the napkin beside the burger.
Lotsy alluded to as well, which I think is a good point. It's not just what it brings to the Oilers to having McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice more, but it's also something different that Florida can't do, like with the matchups. But it's also something they haven't seen yet from us. I mean, like last game is a prime example, and Lotsy alluded to it earlier. It seemed like they were anticipating some of our plays, and so there's some anticipation factor going on the Panthers side. They're not anticipating 11-7. They're not anticipating kind of matches that would bring. It'd be a wrinkle in the plan, something different for them to see. That I don't see how this goes against anything we could do.
Yeah. I'm just going to say this. Like, Patrick's not on the show tonight, and this is
a really good show.
Yeah, and it's been a good show, and it's the least we've seen him in the chat. right?
Wow.
Like he's got a chance to be in the chat, but no, not tonight.
That internet must really not be working.
Yeah, he's snoozing. He's having a snooze. All right, we got to talk about McDavid, Draisaitl, the core response. Oh no.
Oh, you started something.
Oh, yes.
Oh, well lit.
Speak of the devil.
Room. Well lit room, the whole deal. Was that a big fish in the background? What do you got in the background there? It is.
That's a big fish.
Nice. I love it.
I seem to have much better stream here on my iPad, so I'm going to try it here.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, Patrick. Should we start from the beginning?
Yeah, just start over. Just scrap everything.
Start over.
Nothing before
Everybody
me really
here,
happened. So, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's get the theme song going. Now's a good time to take a break. All right, we're moving into McDavid, Draisaitl, core response. Time for the Stars to take over. Yes. Who else needs
Time
to
for the
step
big
up?
fish to take over?
Right? Yeah, time for the big fish to take over. Who else needs to step up? And what does this mean from a leadership moment for Connor McDavid? Patrick, you're up. You're on the clock. Let's hear what you got to say. Internet.
Well, obviously.
There's like, oh, hey, there was Patrick.
Anyway, see you guys later.
Yes. See you later. What do you got for us?
Well, I mean, Connor's considered the best hockey player in the world, and I think he is a great captain, but this is really a time for him to shine. He tried to get his team motivated. We saw in the Amazon Prime documentary last year, dig the F in. We all know what the phrase was. So I think it's going to take a little bit more than that at this point. But this team, I think, is set up to win game 6 and 7 just based on their history. They play their best when their backs are against the wall. And I think Connor will lead this team to the finish line here. I mean, it's going to take everything they have. They're going to have to reach a level that they haven't reached so far in these finals. We haven't seen their best. I keep repeating it in all my videos, video after video, saying, well, tonight's the night they're going to bring their best. Tonight's the night they're going to bring their best. But I think game 6 is when we finally will see it. And I think you guys have covered it earlier. Scoring that first goal will be huge. And I won't be surprised if Connor, in his way of trying to lead there, is the guy that scores that first goal tomorrow night.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. He comes in and he's brilliant. Like that. He just changes the whole outlook of this show. Makes the rest of us look like goofballs. I mean, Ryan, we're sorry, man. You've been cut. You're gonna have to spend some time in the press box. Absolutely. No. Bob, like, what's your thoughts?
Well, how do you think after Patrick speaks? Like, you're just mesmerized by the pure poetry that comes out of
You're
It's the
just
fish.
mesmerized.
It's the fish.
I'm still staring at the fish. I'm like, damn, is that thing gonna like take him out later or what?
I know there's so much emphasis on Connor McDavid's legacy, and it's just the media and the fans that are actually worried about his legacy. McDavid doesn't give a shit about his legacy. He just wants to have Stanley Cup. But I think he is feeling the pressure to bring it. He's been this close. You're this close again. You can taste it. And we might see a different beast coming out of Connor McDavid here now that, once again, our backs are against the wall. And you don't corner a caged tiger. And I think we're going to see that side of Connor come out here this next game. I think Leon has a lot to prove next game too, because this last game was one of his worst games in the final where I thought he looked very tired. So I think he has a lot to prove. Obviously, Ekholm has a lot to prove because that's his worst game as an Oiler, I thought, last game. So I think we're going to see bounce back from a lot of our core players, led by our captain. So, yeah, I agree.
All right. Saving the best for last, Ryan. Like, I mean, you
just got him, and now he's the best. Unreal.
I know. I got to butter you guys all up.
Yeah, you gotta know the elevation to the press box is actually a promotion.
That's right. I mean, not everybody here knows you three like I know you three. I realize like this is a low confidence group. I got to build you up so that you say, this is what a leader does. This is how a leader responds.
Speaking of legacies,
just like lifts you up. All right,
Ryan,
Connor, what do you got?
And I mean, Connor was talking about it today. He called the legacy question a heavy question, right? So
Yeah, you're right.
he downplays it, but I'm sure he has it in the back of his mind somewhere. He gets reminded of it every day, I'm sure. Um, and he also talked about the power play and how it needs to be a little bit better. They're figuring some things out. They've had some chances. Perry kind of alluded to it today as well. But I mean, I think they were 0 for 3 last game, or 0 for 4. Both teams were. One of them was 0 for 3, one of them was 0 for 4. Nobody scored in the power play. But if McDavid's going to have a big night, the power play is going to be a big part of it. And I said from the very start of the series that if the Oilers were going to win, they're going to have to do some damage on special teams because that was an area where they were kind of vulnerable. Their penalty kill hasn't been very good, and that's played itself out. Like game 5 was the first game where they didn't allow a power play goal and specifically allow one in the first period. So they need the power play to step up and be a difference maker for them when their backs are against the wall here in game 6.
Yeah, it's got to be right. Like those are all keys. Talk about those core players, right? Like McDavid, Draisaitl run the power play. We never heard any of you, which you're all fired. Didn't even mention Nugent Hopkins. Like he's the corest of core players. So next week when we do the next stream, it might just be me, but it doesn't matter. So all good. No, I mean, like Nuge has to get to it. Nuge needs to, do his thing. Ekholm needs to do his thing, right? Bush on the power play. Like, we got. It's just, yeah, that was the one thing that I took from McDavid's presser today was, like that's gonna drive the comeback. Somebody said earlier, way up in the chat, about like starting McDavid and Draisaitl at the beginning of the game. Why not? Right? Again, just one of those things that haven't been tried in this series. And right now anything goes, right? So, push the McDavid Draisaitl line right off the start and let's see that urgency. Like let's get that first goal, right? Let's get that urgency going and get the there goes Patrick again. I got to be nicer to him. I just need to be nicer to him. Yeah, no, I like 100%. Some stranger says they need quicker passes on the power play. There's that too, right? Like they need to, they need to move it around a little bit more and do that, open up some space. Right.
I think they need a little more chaos on the power play is what they need. They got to get the Panthers defenders moving. When the Oilers are just kind of going through their sets, the Panthers aren't even really having to move. Like they're just in the right spots. They're all big with long sticks and they're coached well, so they know where to be. And the Oilers have had a hard time. So yeah, quick puck movement's part of it, but they got to get some chaos in there, and that's getting pucks to the net and winning some races and some battles. And then from there, there's something chaos ensues. That's how they won the game in game 1. Right? Yep. Jones overcommits, and now they're over rotated, and you got a 2-on-1 with the 2 best players in the world, and Draisaitl made no mistake. That's how a lot of the power play goals get scored. It's not you run through 5 perfect passes and it's in the back of the net very often, right? It's a breakdown because of some chaos that happened previously.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean 100%, right? Like they, of course, they gotta on the flip of that, they've got to stay disciplined, right? Like they got to watch the stick infractions. They've got to, the first period has been the story all series long, right? What if it's penalties or otherwise? The way the Oilers come through that first period makes all the difference in the world.
Well, you got to choose what you're gonna do with this. Like, are you gonna stay out of the box or are you gonna kill the penalties? Like right now, if we're choosing not to kill the penalties, then we gotta stop taking penalties.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little oversimplified, but true, right? Like, I mean, 100%, right? Like, pick one or the other, and they've just proven they can't They can't stop the power play. So, I mean, and their PK has been more or less awful all playoff long, right? Like they've had stretches of brilliance, but it's nothing like last year where they went long stretches of brilliance, right?
Yeah, they only allowed 4 power play goals all of last year.
Yeah.
We used that up in the first 3 games of the first series. So
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. First game. Yeah.
I also agree, like on the power play as well. I think Quaddy and Lotz are both right. I mean, puck movement and chaos. We got to treat the power play like it's an overtime game. I think, and when the Oilers have reached overtime, they do a good job of just putting pucks towards the net, like anything to put it towards the net, hoping for a bounce, a rebound, just crash it. And for the quick puck moving, it's like Florida has such an aggressive penalty kill. So the quicker you can move the puck, the quicker you get to an open guy where you can start setting up that chaos with a shot on net.
Yeah. When you start talking about pucks on net, that brings me kind of to the next topic, which is secondary scoring, right? Not just secondary scoring, but role players, right? In this team, like in your mind, maybe start with you, Ryan. Like, who's been? He's back. He's back.
I'm gonna try one more time.
All right, one more time. One more time. We're lucky. All right. We're going to maybe we should start with you, Patrick, because we don't know how long we've got you. And we're talking about did he freeze already? Oh, a little bit. Oh. No, you're still there. We're good.
Okay.
Secondary scoring, role players, that type of thing. Who's been invisible series long so far? Who do you think needs more ice? And then if you could think of somebody, like we talked about X factors pre-series, who might be an X factor this game 6 for you?
Well, we haven't seen a lot from guys like most of the bottom 6. I mean, Connor Brown comes to mind. Podkolzin got a goal the other night, but just someone other than Corey Perry, someone other than Leon Draisaitl. Connor McDavid only has the 1 goal, so I mean, he would be the key guy I think you need more from, but obviously more guys in the bottom 6. The bottom 6, basically the third line for the Panthers has been the story of this series, especially Brad Marchand in particular. So the Oilers need somebody on their third line to really take over for at least 2 games here and kind of turn the series. A couple of mentions in there for Mr. Magic in the chat. Kane, Frederick. Evander Kane really hasn't been noticeable in this series except for taking bad penalties at inopportune times. So Evander Kane would be a nice one there, and Trent Frederick for sure, a guy that's maybe signing a long-term deal here in the next couple of days. Make some people like him a bit better if he has a big game 6 and 7.
Yeah, it would certainly make us all feel a little bit better. Ryan, thoughts on that?
I think a lot of the names that we need to see step up have already been mentioned. Some stranger was reading my mind when he was saying Henrique. He's anchoring the third line, and it doesn't matter who's on his wings. We need some production out of that third line. Henrique's kind of been the cornerstone of that throughout the playoffs, and he's had a couple of good games, but he hasn't put up any offense this series. So he'd be one I'd be looking at. Kane is another big one for sure. I think he has 1 goal in the series, but he's also kind of got the max potential for scoring out of those guys in the bottom 6. But if you want next factor, I'm telling you, Jeff Skinner, man, like he should be more motivated than anybody after not playing in the playoffs up until this season and in and out of the lineup all year. And I think he's only played 3 or 4 playoff games. I can't remember the number right now. But he should have fresh legs and he should be motivated. And he's got the skill to come up big when we need him here. He just needs the opportunity.
Wouldn't that be amazing? An amazing story. Like absolutely an amazing story. What do you got, Bob? Or I can go if you want, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Well, it sucks because at this point, by the time a person speaks last, all the names have been spoken for.
That's great.
Because my first instinct was going to be Evander Kane because he's been in the box too much and he has, like Lotsie, the best offensive touch of the bottom 6 guys. And then my next pick was going to be Jeff Skinner. He has the potential to be the breakout player, and he's only played 4 games, but he's yet to have a bad game in those 4 games. Connor Brown was an obvious one. I think he struggled. I thought he's pretty good last game, but that was his best game of the finals. And another guy who might not still be 100% neither. But the guy I was going to pick was Adam Henrique. I thought in game 4, I thought the third line might have been one of our best lines. We won that third line battle in that game. And then in game 5, they disappeared again. So we know it's there. And to get those guys on the same page, and Adam is the anchor there. It's there to be had, and I think that needs to be brought out here for game 6.
Yeah, I think for me it breaks down to Podkolzin, Frederick, and Kane. Like these guys have to be noticeable, right? Like that's their game
for the right
right?
reason.
Yeah. Like they've got, exactly, for the right reasons. No, not sitting in the box, but big hits, hard on the puck. They don't need to even contribute on a score sheet, right? But I love the idea of Jeff Skinner coming in and being that X factor, and I think he is. Like he had a couple of moments when he got back into the lineup, right? Like he's the kind of guy that can do that. And if he's feeling it, right, he's the kind of guy that can have a 2-3 goal game out of nowhere, and the Panthers wouldn't see it coming, right? In fact, Knobloch wouldn't see it coming.
Yeah, it might be easier if you go 11-7 and rotate some wingers around Connor and Leon. Just saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, but for me, when I think about this, I think like Podkolzin, Frederick, Kane, those guys got to be doing and playing the style of game that you expect from them. And if they're not, then it's just it's all for nothing, right? Like that's the isn't that the whole reason they got Frederick?
Yeah.
Right, was to add that. Like, and I'd go so far as to say they got Frederick because of the likelihood they'd play Florida in the final again. Like,
That's
think
why
about that, right? Like, think about that. He's been more or less invisible, right?
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I've always said you don't go chasing guys just for physicality. Like, they got to be able to play too. And there was some evidence that Frederick could play. I mean, he had a couple of decent years in scoring goals the last 2 years prior to this one, but he took a big step back this year, and then he was injured when we traded for him, right? So I just don't think it was the right player at the right time, and certainly not at that price.
Yeah. I mean, look, he seemed like the right guy, but in the injury is the thing. You're kind of spinning the wheel and hoping that you get the right guy when he's done. Connor Brown, we talked a little bit about. I mean, clearly hasn't played the same since he got knocked out, right? But hey, everybody's playing hurt this time of year. It's no different for the Panthers. They'll come out and everybody will have a broken ankle, right? Like it's typical postseason talk, and it's not a big deal anymore for these guys, right? Like they're all playing hurt, so they got to find a way to get through it. All right, down to the last 15 minutes, and we'll call it a night. Knobloch, let's talk about coaching. Let's talk about line matchups. Let's talk about what he's done right, what he's done wrong. What kind of when you at this point, when you're in game 6 and you're in an elimination game, how much does he play into it outside of just determining who's going to make the lineup? Bob?
A lot. Like I mentioned before, I think in the playoffs is when you do some of your most coaching, because you're playing the same team a minimum of 4 times. So it's a battle of wits, and he's up against arguably one of the greatest coaches in the NHL. So this is the part where he needs to stretch his brain muscles and find. And I think Knobloch is good at that. I think this last game, it was actually his first real step backwards in this series when it came to making adjustments and even taking over like at least in the other games where we lost, we took over a period or two, or long stretches of a period. I mean, this last game, we didn't take over at any point in that game. It was basically Panther a 60-minute game for Florida. So, going back to guys we want to see bounce back games from, I pick Knobloch. I think he needs to have a bounce back game in this one.
Yeah, Ryan.
I think coaching is always a factor in the series. You don't see so much of it, like you're focused more on what the players are doing on the ice. But you look at things like Paul Coffey's deployment of the defense pairings, and it's been a little awkward throughout most of the series. Like there was the Nurse Kulak situation where a lot of the numbers were saying that wasn't necessarily the best pairing to go with, but he went with them in some key situations and it didn't work out so well for him. And we just haven't been able to find the right mix back there ever since Ekholm came back in. Again, not putting it on Ekholm, it's just the reality of the situation. We've got as somebody that's going to have to play on their offside unless you've got Stetcher in there. And well, even then, we've only got Bouchard and Stetcher as righties, right? So we've always got guys playing on their offside, so playing a little lower than what their capabilities could be if they were all deployed properly. That's not necessarily on Coffey. It's partly roster construction as well. It's got to find the guys who are going, and they haven't found the right combos yet. But the big thing for me is Knobloch has just really rolled it with that McDavid versus Barkov and Forsling and Ekblad scenario all series long. He's leaned into it, hasn't been afraid of the matchup, and Connor hasn't really been thriving. He's just kind of going along at an average pace, 7 points in 5 games so far. About average for his career in the playoffs, but he's only got 1 goal, and we need to win on the back of Connor McDavid and on the back of Leon Draisaitl. So we've got to do something to get away from that matchup, and it'll be a challenge on the road when you don't have the last change, but Knobloch has to find a way.
We are the Oilers are the home record and road record are pretty even in the playoffs. So I'm confident in our road game overall. Like we're 7-4 on the road, we're 7-3 at home.
And the Panthers
Florida
haven't actually been that. Yeah, the Panthers haven't even been that great at home throughout the playoffs. Like prior to the series, they were 18 goals to 18 goals at home, right? 18 goals for, 18 goals against prior to this series. Now, of course, it looks a lot better because of that 6-1 drubbing in Game 3. Right? But the Panthers haven't been particularly strong at home. They've been way better on the road.
Way better on the road. They're 10-3 on the road, and they're 6-4 at home. So yeah, they've been way better on the road. So maybe we should be more worried about Game 7 when it's back in Edmonton.
Maybe, but we got one big one to worry about before that.
That goes for Skinner too. I mean, I saw somebody post online. I didn't fact check this, but I saw that through games 4 and 7 of the playoffs in rounds, he is 9-1, and so let's bring that 9-1 Skinner here for Game 6.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but there's obviously a big discrepancy between the Oilers in games 1 through 3 of a given series and what they do in games 4 through 7. They've always found a way to adjust and get better as the series has gone on. We know they do better with their backs against the wall. So, I mean, let's hope those numbers play to our favor tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean there's going to be urgency, right? Like it's hard to eliminate a team. If look, Florida is an amazing team. If anybody can do it, it's probably Florida. But the Oilers took them to 7 last year, and they they had to win 3 straight in order to do that. Everybody talks about it being at home. The Oilers beat them at home last game. I think this. We'll have a good feeling of the way this game is going probably 10 minutes into the game. I think that when the Oilers put the gas pedal all the way down, they're hard to stop. Doesn't matter who the team is, right? Like, ask Ekblad about defending against Connor McDavid, right? Like, Ekblad's going to come out after the series and say his ankles are broken, right? You know, and when we could pick 2 or 3 times when we saw them actually break,
Yeah.
you know, like this is big. This is it. This is I was going to talk about sort of stats that matter, right? And one that's going around is that Crosby was down 3-2, right? Like, this is when these guys shine, right? Clutch players like McDavid, like Draisaitl, they hate to lose. And if they can get that extra level. And sometimes I wonder, like, we've talked about this a million times. We talk about them starting off slow. But I always feel like, because they're the guys that get used 40 minutes at every night, right? Like, how much of them is it load balancing? Right? That they load balance until they have to turn it up, right? And sometimes it bites them in the ass, and sometimes they get through it. But I always feel like there's a little bit of load balancing with these guys. Well, that's they've got no choice anymore. It's elimination game. They come out hard. I do think I was talking about it. I think you got to start Draisaitl and McDavid early tomorrow night. Let them get a couple shifts in together. Try to go for that early goal, get the lead, and then go from there.
Yeah, the weird thing is, this is the only series of the 4 series this year where where I'm concerned about that first goal. I mean, the other 3 series, it didn't seem to matter much. I mean, we 1-0, 2-0. We battle back. But Florida is really good at when they have that lead of just plugging up that neutral zone and anything up the middle, and they're just that much tougher to get a lot of momentum going. And this is the only series where I've seen where that first goal has made such an impact on the duration of the game. So yeah, I would agree. I would treat this the first period of tomorrow's game as an overtime period. Like, just that first goal probably gets us the win.
Yeah. We're gonna wind down here. We'll do predictions. Maybe
I winded down an hour ago.
yeah. Well, I mean, no, it was noticeable. We're gonna do predictions, final thoughts. I'll start. Bob, you can go next, and then Lotsie, you can take us home tonight. You know the drill. We'll start with prediction for Game 6. Maybe give us your thoughts on what it's going to take to force a Game 7, and then final thing is, if they win Game 6, do they have the momentum going into Game 7? So I'll start, and and I said this right from the top of the show. I think the Oilers are going to come out and they're going to win Game 6. That load balancing thing to me is actually a thing, right? I think that Patrick's in the chat, lurking in the chat, I might add. When I think about what it's going to take to force Game 7, I think first off, first goal, right? And I actually, like, we talk about the defense bouncing back. I think this is all about how the offense handles the game. I think this is like a good defense is a good offense sort of situation, right? Like, for this Edmonton team, they have to be in the zone. They've got to be disciplined. They've got to do all those things. They do all those things early. First period is where this game goes. I don't think we see, there's not going to be any more comebacks. It's just Oilers come out of the first period with the lead, and I think they win the game. Even tied, they can still do all right. But I think that first goal is so important. Some strangers on it. He says Patrick can have the last comment on the in the chat. We'll shut it down right after he comments. So I think Oilers win, and I think that if they, momentum or not, they're going to be going to a crazy Rogers place for Game 7 on Friday, and that's going to be all the momentum they need. I do think the Oilers have got this. I think we're going to see an extra level that we've not seen, and we talked about secondary scoring and all that. I don't think it matters. I said last game was going to be the best game. McDavid and Draisaitl said, I'll say it until they have the best game they've ever had in their life. I'll keep saying it. I might say it for Game 7. Who knows? But I expect them to be absolutely outstanding. That's it for me, Bob. You're up.
I always feel like when when you hear the Patrick's in the chat, that you should almost be playing the Jaws theme. Sharks circling the waters. I wanna see the Oilers get like 30 plus shots. Like I want a puck to the net mentality. Like even when you dump the puck in, like flip it in high, hope for funny bounces, to put everything on net. Treat it like an overtime game where you just throw pucks to net, go crash, go bang. That's what's going to take against the Panthers. Enough for the pretty plays. I mean, if it's there, you take it. I mean, the McDavid's goal, that was a pretty goal, but like that was also probably his only grade A chance that game. Everything else has to be like just fire it at it, hope, and then create your chances. Make your own luck and go in there, bang bodies. Pile in front of the net, and keep it simple in the defensive zone. You just got to simplify the game. You're not going to get a lot of rush chances on this Panthers team. They play a style where that doesn't really help go in our favor. So just make it gritty, make it mucky, make it dirty. And I think we're going to see the monster Connor McDavid here this game. We talk about legacies. This is one of those games that could cement his legacy. The next two games could be one of those things that cement his legacy. We're going to see the best that Connor McDavid has had to offer in these finals. And I am fully confident that we'll be back here in Edmonton for Game 7. I'm even going to go so far as predict the score for Game 6. It's going to be 5-1 the Oilers. And Connor McDavid, the first star. Stuart Skinner, second star. Lotsy, you're up.
Love it. Bold predictions. Good job. I think after watching the first two games of this series and after seeing how last series played out, this matchup is too good to not go 7 games. Right? This series deserves 7 games. And probably speaking from my heart here, but I think we're going to get that result as well. I said Oilers in 7 from the very start of the series, and I'm going to stick with that. But the Oilers, they have a way of making things hard on themselves. It was kind of the theme of the day today at the press conferences. And I did up a little piece on heavyhockey.com about the subject earlier. And the Oilers have made a habit of it over the years. And I'm not talking about just this season where they started out 0-3, 3 goals in the first game, the 3 games of the year, and starting out 0-2 against the Kings and then going on a 12-2 run. Or falling flat in Game 5 and making it hard on themselves in this series. I'm not even talking about last year where they went 3-9-1 before the coaching change and rode a 16-game winning streak to a playoff spot into Game 7 of the Cup Finals after going down 0-3. No, we're talking decade of darkness and it taking 9 and 10 years for the Connor McDavid-led Oilers to get to this point. And we're talking Pocklington selling Gretzky in the 90s and sending the team into a spiral of despair. So it was a fun piece to write, kind of going back through the annals of Oilers history and just seeing all the examples of how they've consistently made life more difficult on themselves than they've had to make it, but they've always found a way to figure it out. And they're going to figure it out once again this year. So yeah, check it out at heavyhockey.com. But for all of us here, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you in a little while. Have a good night.